Let's go, baby. Hey, it's Thursday night. How are y'all doing? TikTok, how are you doing, man? YouTube, I know you're always good, man. It's TikTok the one I'm worried about. How is everybody doing? Hey, man, it's the Cowboys Cast. You already know what it is. Hey, I told you I was going to come back live again this week. I didn't lie to y'all. Hey, there's a lot to talk about. I want to hear y'all's opinion on this Dak situation with the $60 million. What free agents are available? What do y'all think? If you're all in, what's all in? What free agents would you get? We'll talk about draft picks later, but right now we're talking about free agency. Dak's $60 million contract, supposedly. Let's get into it. Let's talk about these free agents. Tell me what y'all think. Put it in the comments. Let's go, man. Hey, this is the Cowboys Cast. We're back live on Thursday night, baby. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. Tell me what player specifically in free agency that you're looking for that you think would be a great fit for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Can we splurge a little bit? I don't know. Maybe. But let's talk about it. So, couple of free agents, right? That I think would probably fit with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, if you saw the thumbnail, it's should say it all. But we're gonna talk about running backs because I think that's the biggest needs we probably need. And there goes right as I say that, George, right, says Derrick Henry. It's the first thing that came out. I think a lot of people are right. I think that's probably one of the moves. We will see. But here we go. We got Adrian J047 says, I'm more excited about Jimmy Johnson. He has the help out. He has to help out this time. I guess is what he's trying to say. Adrian, I don't think I've ever seen you on. I don't think I've seen you on here. Round of applause for Adrian. Adrian, thank you for coming on the show. So yeah, Jimmy, we hear that Jimmy's part of that advisory board now. We'll see how much of an impact he'll have, but Zip 3.0 says Saquon Barkley. Yeah, man. I mean, depending on what you want, what is it? Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. George says, what is Jimmy Johnson's role in reality? I think that's a hard thing to say because we really don't know. And does Jimmy really take advice from the advisory board is the question, because Jerry Jones does what he wants. So T-Bucks 23 says can't pay running backs anymore. Nah, I think the exception is Derrick Henry. Is it Saquon? I don't know about Saquon or Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs might get tagged, but I don't know. Saquon gets hurt a lot. But Derrick Henry, on the other hand, he's been hurt a little bit, but not as much as Saquon. So we will see, man. I really don't know. I'm kind of iffy on both of them, but if I were to pick one right now, I'd say Derrick Henry's probably my pick as of right now. And then you go get yourself a running back, a slasher in the draft, and I think we'll be set at running back. And then with the guys that we had last year, we just pick the backups from there, and we'll see. But I think that Lightning and Thunder package is probably something that we need to look at on this offense. But yeah, man, I agree. It's either the question is how much are they going to demand on the open market, and is Derrick Henry able to take a pay cut against all those other running backs? They might want more money. So he's at the tail end of his career, so he might take less money. So that might fit us perfectly. T-Bucks 23. Look at the total running back salary for the last 5 Super Bowl winners. Yep, I agree. And that's the thing I think we talked about on this show. Zip 3.0 says, is Pollard going anywhere? That's a good question. I from the beginning, I think Pollard might go to the Eagles, as bad as that sounds. I think with Kellen Moore going with the Eagles, I think Pollard might go to the Eagles, and he might use them a little bit better than we probably did in that scheme. Adrian J says Jimmy Johnson has the knowledge to help out in the key factors, the boys. Jimmy is one Jerry's go-to guy for what's best. We will see, man. Only time could tell on that, I think. And hopefully Jimmy does give him some good advice and helps us out somehow, right? But speaking of players and this free agency, I think, and Jerry, I think posted on Facebook, I think it was Facebook. I don't know if you guys know a player, James Williams. He's an incredible player for the Miami Hurricanes. He plays physical. I think those are the type of players we need. Those guys that just play every down, just so physical and nasty, man. That's what we need in this defense. And offense too, as offensive line. But I think those type of players is what we need. And Pat Queen probably fits that criteria. A Devin White fits that criteria. I think those type of players would probably help the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it's all going to come down to Mike Zimmer and what's going to fit his scheme, right? Because he's going to want certain players. The other one I'll bring up is Mike Evans. Is Mike Evans going to demand a lot of money? He's at the tail end of his career. So he's 30-plus-year-old receiver. Is he going to take less money to try to go get another ring? Or, I don't know. We'll see. But those are the type of players that we're talking about. T-Bucks23 says you don't want White. I mean, we're just throwing names out there. So my point is sometimes they might fit a better scheme in Mike Zimmer's defense. So that's what I'm talking about. White wants $100 million. You know what? You're right, man. He might demand that. But you know what? White is 26 years old, right? He's still young. I think a lot of people forget he's still a very young player. So yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. I think the Cowboys are going to try to do some things, try to move some money. They're probably going to sign Dak, and everybody's talking about this $60 million a year resetting the market. So, I don't know, man. We will see. I'm sure there's some linebackers. T-Buck says even Evans may only go between Tampa and Houston. I could probably see that. The other one is, do we get Tyrone Smith back? That's the other question. I consider him still a priority for free agency, right? The other one is there's a lot of really good players out here. T-Buck says, I told you before, is Haas to the under 13% of $240 million to win a Super Bowl. It has to be 13% of $240 million to win. Yeah, I get it, man. We will see. There's a lot of good players out there. Let me see one that. I mean, you still got Calvin Ridley that might be cheap for you. That's another one for wide receiver. I think the biggest thing the Cowboys need to work on is defensive line, linebacker, and offensive line. I think if they do that, I think they'll be all right, and then they can probably go after the best available player in the draft. So we'll see. T-Buck says you can't pay tax 60. Yeah, it's Texas, man. It is Texas. Adrian says 60 million. Dak really gonna have to show what he's made of this time around. If he gets it, I mean, he had a great year. You can go both ways. He had a great year. I think he finished second in MVP voting. So at the end of the day, man, he had a great year. He has a leg to stand on. What are the Cowboys going to do? To let him go? Probably not, man. They don't got a plan. And I don't think Trey Lance is the option right now. I think he's still young and learning. So we will see, man. T-Buck says, but you can't pay $60 million a year for a quarterback. You'll never win. Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow unless the Cowboys backtrack that money all the way to the end of the contract years. That's probably the only way they can get it done. Kind of like Jalen Hurts did with the Eagles. That's probably a possibility to save some money. And then you sign CeeDee Lamb to cut some of that $17 million and bring it down maybe about $13 million. So you'll save maybe $13 million somewhere there. Maybe make some other moves and save some $30 somewhere between 30 to 20, 50 million and bring in some free agents. So T-Buck says it goes all the way back to 2000. No quarterback over 13% has ever won the Super Bowl. I get it, man, but that 60%, is it it depends on what the cap's going to be too. So that's going to play a big difference in this situation. They're saying that the cap's going to 250. I don't know how true that is. 250 million, that is. So we will see. So T-Buck says 248 million this year. Is that official though? Is that official for the NFL cap? I don't think it is though. Is it? El Jefe 2349 says Dak has not won in the playoffs. Oh, we know that. It's unfortunate though that they're probably going to pay him. Manny Fresh Cool says T-Bucks. Facts. It's true, man. I got you. Let's see. NFL salary cap 2024. Let's see. Every team 2 days ago. Yeah. So right now it's not set in stone. So they're saying anywhere between 243 to 250. So we will see, man. That makes a big difference. Because I believe the Cowboys right now are over the cap by 21 million, I believe. As of I might have to check that again, but I'm pretty sure the last time I checked, that's how much it was. So we got a Jefe 2349 says he will sign for 35 million a year. Look, listen. If he's smart and he wants to keep this team together with CeeDee Lamb, Micah, and other players, I think Dak would be smart to probably maybe go. I mean, to be realistic, what does Baker Mayfield get? I think that's what we have to look at too. What is Baker going to make on the free agency? And then whatever Baker makes, I believe you go a little bit above that, or Kirk Cousins if he signed. Michelle King says 45 million, and that's what I'm kind of looking at. Probably the 45 million. And I'm not saying that, oh, that's what he's worth. I'm just saying to be smart about it, I think 45 million. You're not paying state taxes. So I'm just saying LCC 920 says he's not worth 35 mil. To each their own, man. At the end of the day, look, listen, do you want to go through that drought that the Cowboys went through those years early on before Romo and didn't have a quarterback? That's the thing you have to ask yourself. Michelle King says, no more than that. We need to pay others. Yeah, I agree. But the question is Dak going to tell them that? I know if I was Dak, I wouldn't say anything. I let them negotiate and figure it out. How much do you want to pay me? El Jefe says if he signs for 60 million at the end of the Cowboys, is it though? I mean, remember, they can push that money to the back end of his contract. Michelle King says, but he will demand more than that. And unfortunately, we have no choice. Yeah, and Michelle, I think you're dead on. Like, that's the issue, is that the Cowboys don't want to search for another franchise quarterback. It's hard to be a mediocre team or, finish in the top 10 in the draft. I don't think that they want to do that. Rocket Painting says no quarterback on the market is worth more than Dak. Yeah, I could see that. Big says Jared Goff is better than Goff in big moments. Jared Goff is better than Goff in big moments. Okay. LCC 920 says at Rocket Painting, laughable. Yeah. Oh, Prescott. I mean, as of right now, I think Goff has more playoff wins than Dak. So I guess you have a leg to stand on. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, he went to a Super Bowl and he didn't win it either. And they lost in the NFC Championship. So, I mean, at the end of the day, tomatoes. Jerry Garcia 045 says he's not worth 35 million. Hey, man, a lot of people said that Dak wasn't worth 40, man, and he still got paid. So the man's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. El Jefe 2349 says Purdy has more playoff games than Dak. Yeah, we all know that. Rick Rosa experience, Goff went to a Super Bowl. Yeah, I know he did. And he lost too. The name of the game is the win, man. Doesn't matter if you have 3 or 4 playoff games and never win the big one. I mean, that's what everybody's going to remember. At LC920, explain who is then. He wants you to explain, man. Rocket Painting wants you to explain who is better. Because regardless, guys, I think everybody has this conversation. There's nothing we can do about there's nothing we can do about that getting paid, man. That's just the way it is. Who are you gonna have to replace Dak? Dak hasn't sniffed a Super Bowl. There's a lot of quarterbacks that haven't sniffed a Super Bowl, man. You know how I can mean a lot. Mahomes, bro, just to name 2. Yeah, of course. I mean, those guys are elite, man. Michelle King says, do you think we are keeping Gilmore? I think, honestly, Michelle, and what are we doing? Be out of the run game and linebacker issues. So I think with the Gilmore question, I think that has a lot to do with Zimmer and if does he want him back in the scheme that he's going to run. And the other question is, if you do bring Gilmore, you got Diggs back, you got Bland. Do you move Bland back in the middle? Because he had a stellar year, man, on the side of Diggs. So there's kind of one of those things you have to talk about with your staff, right? The other one, Michelle, you said, what are we doing to beat out the run game? I think like Micah's told Jerry, I think we need a 330 pounder. I think that's what we need. At the end of the day, we need another one. So I think Mossy still needs to mature a little bit more. I think he's still used to the college game, the way he played. So I think that'll take care of itself. But I think we need another defensive tackle for sure, another big boy, in my opinion. Big says Cowboys stole that game from Detroit week 17. That's why they got karma in playoffs. They had no refs. I don't know about that, man. I don't believe in all that, man, to be honest with you. LSC 920, Purdy is better than Dak. El Jefe says, I want to see Trey Lance push Dak for his job. I think that's why they got Dak. Not only that, but for insurance as well. Rick Rosa Experience says Dak hasn't handled playoff pressure well. He has not, man. I don't care what anybody says. He has not. Against the Green Bay game, he threw an interception for a pick 6. They started off really slow. I think at the end of the day, Dak is who Dak is. And I don't know if Dak, he's going to have to show me that in these playoffs when it's tight coverage, can you throw a receiver wide open? That's the question. Jose says he's been the sole reason they've lost in the playoffs last 3 seasons. No. I think a lot of that has to do with, Dak didn't play well. But that's not just solely on him. I think a couple of games of defense probably let them down. But I think it goes both ways, man. I think it's not just solely just on him. Can you please explain why Dak Prescott can't make it past second round of playoffs? Everybody says Dak, but I think it's this team. I don't think this team has the mentality to play in these games. Think about it, guys. We have the roster. I don't think the culture and the mentality is there to play in these playoffs and be physical when you have to be physical like that against better teams. I think it's a culture thing and a mentality thing. I think that's what it comes down to. In my opinion, don't get me wrong, Dan Quinn, and this is just an opinion, I think Dan Quinn was a great coordinator, but I think he was really good friends with a lot of these players and didn't hold them accountable. Yeah, they lost some game. Defense gave up a lot, and they came back and they played a better game against probably not a good team. But that's expected because of what just happened. You need a team that can be consistent every week in the NFL. Like, that's what has to happen. And I think Mike Zimmer's going to bring that. He's got that attitude, that hard knocks, hey, man, I'm going to keep you accountable type of player or type of coach, I mean. And I think that the Cowboys need that. Michelle King, coaching and no accountability. Yeah, it's biggest, says Jerry Jones. The team is not mentally strong. It's not. At Michelle King says, 7 interceptions in 2 games at home last 3 seasons, not for $60 million. Ken Locke says 10 years in the league, Dak is who he is, nothing more. We're doomed. We will see, man. Hoodlum. Let's get Hoodlum a round of applause, man. What's up, Hoodlum? He says, yo. JC Cowboys Network. We're going to give them a round of applause too, man. I don't think I've ever seen them on here. Welcome to the cast, man. Appreciate it. JC Cowboys Network. Keep up the good work, bro. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. NFZ says he's got the stars, baby. He's got the stars. Let's go. All right. So, yeah. So going back to, look, Dak, look, guys, you got to get over the Dak thing. Like, it is what it is. You're not going to find another quarterback unless you give up picks and go to the top 2 picks. That's a lot of picks you got to give up. A lot of players you got to give up. Cowboys are not going to do that because they have the team to win right now. They just need to make some minor adjustments, and we'll see what happens. NFZ says people need to stop blaming Dak for the defense giving up 48 points. It's a lot of points, man. It's a lot of points, and that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes the playoff games it's Dak a little bit, and then another one is the defense. They just can't put it together, man. That's the issue. I think, like I said, Mike Zimmer's going to bring that hard knocks discipline in your face. He's going to let you know what it's like type of coach, and he's going to want to win. Not only that, but he wants to make sure this defense is great because he probably wants to be a head coach again. Michelle King says, Ken Log 13, what Jerry said, we will go as far as Dak takes us, and that is second round of max. We will see, man. Michael Parsons cannot carry the whole roster. He can't, man. He needs help. Michael Guger, I hope I say that right. Minor adjustments, blown out in the first round. I think if you look at the defense, think about it like this, Michael. I get what you're saying, but think about it like this. We had 213, 15-pound linebackers playing, or safeties playing linebacker. We got away with it with not good teams. The good teams are going to run the ball on you. That's what I said. My brother asked me, hey, what would you do against Scott? I would run the ball. You're telling me that Marquise Bell and Clark are going to stop my run game? We're going to see. We're going to go mano a mano, go right out the middle, right out the edge towards Michael Parsons, double him, triple him. We're going to do all that. I want your linebackers to beat my offensive line. That's what I said. And that's what happened. This is a reality, man. It's physics. Like, these linemen are 300 plus pounds against 215 pound linebackers. Think about it. Those guys did not want to run downhill and make the tackle. Just being honest. Rocket Painting says our biggest downfall is stopping the run. It is. Rocket Painting says we came back and put up 30 points. We did, but it's too late. The Cowboys, that's another thing. Cowboys always start slow. That's like a thing that's been happening since Jason Garrett. They always start slow in the playoffs. What is it? It's a culture thing. I'm telling y'all. It's a culture that they're developing with the Dallas Cowboys. King Cowboy Star says Dallas will change out all linebackers. I believe so. Rich Fowler says Micah disappeared after week 6 this year. Teams figured him out. He's got to lock in this year. He does. Raul Duke 968 says, what's Tyrone Smith's going to cost? I don't know, man. I hope it doesn't cost 10 to 16 million. I hope it's less. FCS Golf says, go Chiefs. You're a Chiefs fan. Congratulations, man. King Cowboy Star. Hopefully Zimmer makes changes. I think he will, man, for the best. NFZ says offense scored 32 points, so they did their job. Yeah, they did score 32 points. The only thing I don't look at that is some of it was kind of trash play at the very end. So to me, I don't know if I think they were doing a lot of dinking and dunking towards the end, and to let them do that to run out the clock. So I think it falls on Mike McCarthy at the end of the day. The game plan and what he started with is not good. He didn't have this team prepared. And you guys know there's clips of Mike McCarthy saying this team was not prepared against the Niners 2 years ago. He said that they were nervous. You're the head coach. You got to get them ready. Rocket Penny says Micah needs to move back to linebacker and we need to pick up some big boy defensive tackles. I think that's probably going to be a 50-50 thing in my opinion. I think it's going to be a lot of situational awareness from the defensive coordinator with Micah. I think you have to look at it like that. He's either going to play linebacker or defensive end. Probably a 50-50 split. Kinlock says, do you think anyone else would have given Dak that much money though? I don't know, man. There's some teams out there, man. You don't think that Atlanta Falcons would take Dak? I'm just saying. Scotty Hampton says, yes, Dak is worth it. FSC Golf, will Deuce V make it? I don't know, man. He might be out this year. Scotty Hampton says, I'm tired of people talking trash to Dak. Yeah, man. Like, look, I'm probably the hardest person on Dak because I wanted to draft Dak and I left the draft in 2016. I was like, man, whatever, man. They ain't gonna draft him. My brother called me, said he got drafted. I was happy. I was excited. I thought he was the development player. Unfortunately, he had to start right away, man. And I think honestly, you give Dak 2 or 3 years behind Romo, and I think you see the Dak that you just saw this year in that third year when Romo's gone. But unfortunately, it didn't work out like that, and he didn't develop that way. It took him this long to develop. So it is what it is. But if you guys don't think Dak's the guy, who else is? I'm interested, and I'm not trying to disagree with anybody. It's just who do we go for if Dak is not the guy? Scotty Hampton says, I was happy too, and still am. Being a Cowboys quarterback is the hardest position in any sport. It is, man. It's probably one of the hardest positions in sports, period. Ken Locke says, you think Zeke would be available for the league minimum? I'm down for Zeke coming back at the league minimum, man. I'm okay with that. You bring him in for the league minimum. You get maybe a Derrick Henry. You draft another running back, and you let the chips fall where they fall, man. Who is your best running backs? And you go with that. I don't see why not. You just don't keep Zeke because he's Zeke and he was a Cowboy before and you just want to keep him. That's not how it works. King Cowboy Star says Jimmy Johnson advisor role interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't play too much into that because I don't know if Jerry Jones is going to take every advice that Jimmy Johnson gives him. I don't know. I might be wrong, but we'll see what happens with that. But like I said, guys, I think a lot has to do with the culture and the mentality, the strong will of these players. It all comes down to mentality. Scotty Hampton says, I wouldn't mind seeing Jacobs. I love how he has always run angry, but that's far-fetched. Yeah, it is. The franchise tag started. I don't think anybody's been franchised yet. But I think Jacobs might be one of those players. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on. Coaches, don't trust a quarterback that walks and throws on his tiptoes. That's funny. I know what you're talking about. It was kind of one of those jinx things. Ken Locke says, Vander is coming back or is he done? And I had this conversation with my brother. I think LVE is done, man. I think when you have those type of injuries, I think it's time for you to retire and kind of look at the future, and you're still young. So I personally think he might retire. That's just my opinion, but we'll see. The King Cowboy Star says Dallas won't franchise anyone this year. Nope. Scotty Hampton says March 13th, I think, is when we can start making moves. Yeah, I believe it is. We'll see, but they can talk to players beforehand, but nothing can be striked until that day. So there's a lot, man. So, I'm gonna ask you, chat, what free agent, if you could pick a free agent, right? Would you guys want? Everybody knows that I want Derrick Henry. That's kind of an obvious that everybody wants. I'm talking about a secondary player, either offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, or maybe receiver. What's the player that you would get other than running back Derrick Henry? Oh, here we go. Let's give him a round of applause. We haven't seen him in a while. This is Ultra Cowboy. He's back. He says Dak is still booty. Ultra Cowboy, you cease to amaze me, man. So let's see. I missed some of the at Scotty Hampton from King Cowboy Star says got to do something with Dak contract. I think that'll happen. George says, what do you think of a reunion with Jalen Smith? Nah, I don't think so. I think Jalen Smith's man, he's done. KMO32 says running back are looking at. I think Henry is a good running back, man. I think we need to look at that and see where he's at, depending on how much he's wanting. I think that has a lot to do with the running back position for free agency, I should say. Scotty Hampton says, I'm sure Dak is willing to reconstruct it if he wants to win. I think so too. King Cowboy Star says Pollard gone. Pollard's gone, man, in my opinion. Coaches, Cowboys ain't got no draft picks. What do you mean ain't got no draft picks? Yeah, they do. Michelle King, Devontae Adams. Nah, far-fetched. User 606, offensive lineman. Yep. Who do you got? Offensive line. Who do you guys got, though? Scotty Hampton, Stephon Diggs for sure. Man, he's not a free agent, man. You got to trade for him.
Marco Garza says we need a veteran linebacker and a good running back. I agree with you, Marco. I'm there with you. I think we take a veteran linebacker and we take a veteran running back, and then we go in the draft and get a rookie running back and maybe a linebacker. Michelle says that Scotty Hampton, his ego is too big. Please no. Scotty Hampton, I like to see him play with tape. That would be crazy. User 606 says, nah, Jacobs from the Raiders and then O-line. Jacobs probably will be tagged. Johnny Lopez says, what's up? What up, man? What's going on? Some people are saying Barkley, Gonzalez, Diggs brothers, Cowboy Star says, I need a linebacker and Henry. And then Cowboy Star says, Tampa White, linebacker Henry. Yep. I think White's going to demand a lot of money, though. All right. We got Ultra Cowboy. He wants Patrick Queen. I agree with that one. That was a pretty good one. Brandon J 2024 KC. Well, I don't think I've ever seen you on here, man. Welcome to the show. Round of applause for him. All right, so he's saying Dallas Cowboys, Amaris Mims, offensive tackle, Georgia. I could see that. He also says round 1 pick 2014 logo Troy Font. Okay, 6'4". Okay. He's giving us Ultra Cowboy says you give me Queen and Grover Stewart. Okay, got it. Ultra Cowboy says Cowboys are not winning Super Bowl with Dak. It's mental with him. We'll see, man. We'll see. 56 Dallas Cowboys, Adrian Cooper, linebacker. I don't think you think he's gonna last that long. I don't know if he's gonna last that long, man. Honestly. See who we got. Coach he said 28th pick ain't gonna get any talent. I think we got the 24th pick, but Ken Lock 13 says Terrence Steele looked really bad last 8 games or so. Our online needs new blood. Yeah, he didn't look too good, man. He's the 3rd highest paid right tackle right now. Johnny Lopez says who rather choose Barkley or Henry? To be honest, right now Barkley right fit Cowboys. We'll see. King Cowboy Star says Ken Lock 13. He bounces back. Don't worry. Scotty Hampton says yeah, Steele has to go. I don't know what happened. He's not going anywhere. Michelle King says yes, Queen. I agree. I think everybody's a consensus with Queen. KMO says really need help on stopping the run. I think that's the biggest thing we're probably going to address. Big says this is Dak's last year. He has no more gas in the tank. We will see, man. We will see. Who do you got? Ultra Cowboy says, oh, only Cowboy fans love to keep drafting O-line in the first round. Only one first rounder on the O-line that played in Super Bowl. Cooper not getting past the Pigeons. Okay. This is Dak's last year. Okay. Coachy says at big, agree. We will see, man. Hey, so you guys gave me the free agents that you Kinlock says, man, Kelsey, that ain't gonna happen. Jack says Brian Thomas Jr. with Cooks and Lamb would be fire. Yeah, that would be fire, man. That would be fire. So hey, we're gonna probably talk about a little bit about free agency as it gets closer. I am gonna start probably breaking down some film on some of these players, maybe. If not, we can just talk about them, but we're probably gonna talk about it. Kinlock says Romo for coach. Is that a possibility? I don't think so. I think he's happy where he's at. Ultra Cowboy says Eagles have 2 second-round picks before we pick. They need a linebacker. I mean, who says the Cowboys might not draft a linebacker in the first round? We don't know that. So there's some good linebackers in this draft. Brandon J says Derrick Henry next to T Mods, Ravens favorite to land running back. Yep, we will see. That's one to keep an eye on, but he is in Dallas. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Jack says, I feel like we need more stars surrounding Dak. Josh Jacobs to Dallas would literally be insane. Yeah, but I think he's going to get franchise tag, I believe. Free agent 1224 says Purdy is fired next year, 800,000. Yeah, man, we'll see what Purdy's got, man. At the end of the day, Gonzalez says Jimmy as an advisor is dope. We will see, man, if that all changes. Ultra Cowboy says, give me Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas Jr., or Troy Franklin at 24. Don't get me wrong. I like Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin. I love them, right? The only question to me is we also got to think about, is that the best available player at 24? because I think this wide receiver class is so deep. I don't think you need to take a wide receiver in the first round unless he's Randy Moss type of player, right? But at 24, I doubt it. So I think at that pick and the value, you got to look at offensive line depending on who falls and maybe a linebacker if they fall. Those are the type of players you probably have to look at as far as the draft. King Cowboy Star says Super Bowl loser always crumble last 4 years. Eagles, Bengals, Rams. That is true. That is true. KMO 32, who out there as safety free agents. So KMO, so you know the free agents safeties, right? Are I mean, we got enough safety as I don't know why you would want a safety, but I will. So Antoine Winfield Jr. from Tampa is out there. Let's see who else we got. You got Kyle Duggar from New England. You got Cameron Curl from Washington. In my opinion, I think I'd probably go as a rookie if I'm going to get a safety, to be honest with you. I don't know if you guys know who you guys need to check out a player. And I told you this before. Jerry was on, sent me the pick, and I told him, hey, I've been looking at that player. From Miami. He's a safety. His name is James Williams. For the Miami Hurricanes, you need to go watch this film. He's a physical player. I think that's a good fit for the Cowboys and the scheme that Mike Zimmer wants to run. So, King Cowboy says we're loaded at safety. Yeah, we are, but this guy's dynamic, man. I'll tell you what. Coaches, where is Brock, tight end from Georgia, going? He's a beast. He's probably going to go top 5, top 7, probably. King Cowboy Star McKinney. King Cowboy Star Giants McKinney. Yeah, McKinney's pretty good. Ken Locke, he had a lot of turnovers too. I think he had 3 picks or something and 2 forced fumbles or something like that. Ken Locke Overshown could be a starter if 55 retires. That is true. Free agent 1224 says Cowboys paid Dak. Niners win. Okay. Gonzalez 5307 says Ken Locke. Hell yeah. All right, so we will see, man. Let me see. We got some more comments on here. Ultra Cowboy. Cowboys don't miss on first round wide receivers. No more first round O line. We will see, man. I think you got to go with the best player available. Is what happened. Des Bryant was drafted at 24. Yeah, I got it. What's the best available is what it comes down to. Brandon J says round 1 pick 6 team logo Brock Bowers tight end. Okay. Got it. Okay. Okay, Brandon. He's got all this stuff. He's giving us some knowledge, man. Hey, so look, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on. Hey, for me, man, we've been on 38 minutes. We appreciate you guys. Let's play the outro. Hey guys, look, at the end of the day, I'm glad we're having this discussion. I see all the players that you guys want. We're going to see what happens. First order of business, man, is paying Dak and extending him to clear some of that cap space. Maybe CeeDee Lamb. We'll see what happens. Jerry Jones says he's all in, man. That's what he says. Coach, he says we need an Allen at left tackle. We'll see. Hey, what are the Cowboys going to do? They're going all in? By the way, I hope you guys like my cap. It's a Cowboys Cast hat, man. Appreciate you. Hey, thank you guys for following us. We appreciate you guys. Ultra Cowboy says Bowers is a stud. Yes, he is, man. He ain't going to last very long. So, hey, we appreciate you guys. Ultra Cowboy says, I believe they restructured Dak. I believe so too. Look, Brandon says Bill Belichick to 49ers. Kyle Shannon once said it'd be a smart decision to hire their former Patriots coach. I don't think he's going to go there. But look, listen, we appreciate you guys. Free agent says Luke MC to the Niners. We'll see. Hey, I appreciate you. I'm going to let TikTok go first. TikTok, we love you. Be nice, TikTok. Don't be mean, TikTok. I always worry about you. I appreciate it, chat. Thank you so much. We love you guys. This is the Cowboys Cast. Chat. Keep it real, chat. All right, that was TikTok. YouTube, we appreciate y'all. And like always, keep it real, TikTok.